It is so wonderful to be here. Thank y'all so much for having me, and Happy New Year. You know, it's we're doing another New Year. It's funny. Okay, it's hard to know who to say Happy New Year to, because some people already seem like they're not having a great one. Like you'll see somebody and be like, I'm gonna let this one go. Being here for New Year's was great. I went with my girlfriend and some friends, and we had a great time. And then it was midnight, and so a little while after midnight, about like 12:03. I don't know if you can tell from looking at me, but I'm not like fun. So 3 minutes after midnight, I was like, oh, okay, I think I'm gonna go home. And so I started walking home. And one of the wildest things about a new year is that it sneaks up on you in a way that you would think stops happening. As you get older, you're like, you're not gonna get me this time. I'm gonna be ready for you. And then it's over. And there's a whole nother year. And there's things you wish you could leave behind in the new. You didn't have time to like fix who you were for the new year. Whenever they say like new year, new me, it's two sides of that coin. It's a new year. The year did its part. Now you have to be a new person. There's so many things you wish you could leave behind. Like, it would be great if a new year meant there were just no more bad habits. Like the bad habits melted off. They were like 2025 things. And now in 2026, you just don't even think to do those things anymore. That's not one of your habits at all. I was walking back to the Airbnb, and I saw this guy crossing paths with me. And I was, in my head, I was like, maybe I should say Happy New Year. The year's 5 minutes old. I was even about to say it, but as I'm passing this guy, as we cross paths, I just hear this guy to himself go, no, 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 no. And holding his stomach so tight. No, 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 no. And I knew he wished he could have left it in 2025. I've been having a great time eating here, because y'all forget, y'all take for granted. I don't even know everyone in here, but I know what I'm saying is true. You take for granted that your food is food. And like, your food is food. I live in the US. I live in America, where the food is food shaped. One thing I will say for the food in America, it will always be the shape of food that you're expecting. And we've come out with new shapes. We have new shapes for food. You want chicken. Let's have some chicken. Great, we've made a chicken nugget for you. Okay, I'm still familiar with those. Will it be like a little clump of meat with some breading around it, grilled up, or will it be deep fried, nice and delicious? No, this one will look like a dinosaur. Is it dinosaur meat? No, it's chicken. Or at least we say it's chicken, but it's dinosaur-shaped meat. All the food will be the right shape it's supposed to be, in the shape of the food that you think you're buying. But when you eat it, you're like, you got me. This isn't food. We literally have a show where we shape all manner of things and ask the question, is this cake? That should give you an indication of what the food is like. All the food here is like food. And don't get me wrong, you have your junk food. You do. You have plenty of your own junk food, and that's very cute, okay? I've had this conversation, I've even had this argument with plenty of Australians, and they'll be like, no, we have our unhealthy food. I'm like, no, that's not what I said. That's not what I was talking about. You have your junk food, which is it's a fascinating attempt at junk food. But that's like telling an American that you also have junk food is like meeting LeBron and being like, I play too. Like, it's... You can't even begin to understand the levels of junk food we have reached. We are the king. And not to come over here and tell you that America's better at something and be a real American about it, but like we are very good at junk food. We're so good, we're dying. We're dying in droves. We can't stop dying, but we also can't stop eating because we went in the lab and we were like, they won't be able to say no to this concoction. Your food is like food. That's crazy. Full food. Like it has, like you can feel nutrients hitting. You can feel, okay, look. I know this is a bad example, but you know like when somebody does drugs on TV and then because they don't have enough time to show what actual drug use looks like, or maybe they don't want to, they make it look like drugs happen like that, like immediately, like someone does the drug and then they're like, ugh, like it's... Okay, that is what your food is like. When I'm eating it, I'm like, that is what wow. I had steak here. I had steak. And I felt like, after I ate the steak, I felt like I could fight. Not as in I was angry. I felt like I knew how. Because so much protein had gone into my body. And like actual protein, not the protein that we put out. Because in the US, we have lots of protein. We love making everything protein-packed. Protein will make up for how much sugar we also put in the thing. So then we'll have protein on protein on protein. So if you eat this, that's all your protein for the day. And you want to be big and strong, don't you? And then you eat that protein and then they'll make a commercial a couple months later where they're like, hey, did you eat this protein? We're so sorry. That was poison. That was like actual rat poison that we put in there. It was the same color as our protein mix. And so you understand how mistakes get made. But here I was eating, wow. Whoa. In the U.S., we have foods that you don't have here that are like junk food, but we also have flavors that y'all don't have here because you have like laws out of self-respect, and so the law here, it'll be against the law to bring that flavor here. Someone, and I don't even know if they're here, then congratulations to you, more power to you. But I imagine they're not even here. Someone from a long time ago was like tasting things from other places, and then they were like, "That's good. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's great. Yeah, bring that." And then they had some flavors from the U.S. and they must have died. They must have promptly died because you don't have those flavors here, and they're like illegal to bring here. But we love them in the U.S. A child's favorite flavor won't even be a flavor that you're thinking of. You'll think of something like spice. You might even think of a seasoning. Like, oh, paprika. A little bit of pepper. Oh, this is so good. No, I'm not. You're talking about like seasoning from food. You're used to food. It's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about flavors that you could never imagine because they don't exist in nature, because they're not real. Use your imagination. I'm talking about flavors that don't make any sense. You will talk to a child in the US and their favorite flavor is blue. I don't mean blueberry. I don't mean a natural, the hot pink but blue color that's usually just on posters for movies. That will be the color of a food, and that color has a flavor, and that will be that child's favorite flavor because they've never been introduced to food. And then, as someone from the U.S., as an American, you travel, and you find out that we have this horrible reputation for being like loud and boisterous, dumb stuff. And I don't care where you're from, everyone has at least some shred of national pride where they want to be like, no, we are not. I am not the worst of us that you may have met, right? Everyone has that thing. And so you're inclined, when you hear these rumors about the U.S., you're inclined to be like, no, I read all the time. I read and I'm perfectly easy to get along with and everything. What would make you think that we're What would make you think that we're this way? And then they'll tell you a story that once you hear it, you can tell that they're telling the truth. They'll tell you a story that breaks your heart a little bit. They'll tell you about meeting like a nice American family that actually were, well-behaved, perfectly pleasant people, but they seemed a bit dumb. And you're like, why are you judging them? That's a prejudice that you think they're dumb. And then they'll tell you, oh, well, we had a conversation and, the mom and the dad were perfectly nice people, but then we turned and, the child was trying to get his mom's attention and we said hello. And he said hello. And then, they were talking. And the kid was looking up and saying, Mommy, can I have something? And then we asked the kid, oh, yes, what would you like? What's your favorite? And the child was like, my favorite flavor is blue. And as soon as you hear that, you're like, yep, that definitely happened. That 100% happened. We make attempts at food. We still have the fruits and vegetables for sale in the U.S. They're there. You can buy, if you went, you could buy them. You would see them there. And you would even think, oh, this is just, you would walk in to a grocery store and you'd be like, this is just like a Kohl's. Look, it's basically a Woolworths. And then you'll bring the produce home and you'll eat it because they can't fool you forever. And you'll take a bite of like a blueberry. I remember when I had my first blueberry of this trip and my first blueberry in Australia, period. Because I've been several times now. And I had my first blueberry and I was like, wow, whoa. It makes you want to strangle someone for keeping the secret of blueberries from you. Everybody walking around all nonchalant. Smiling, acting like the blueberries here aren't good. I see you keeping secrets. You thought you could get it past me? Had a blueberry here and I was like, jeez. What is, oh, wow. Did that thing where you don't want the food to be over. I did that weird thing where, I bought several blueberries. I didn't buy just one blueberry. So it's like, I don't know why I was like Oliver Twisting it, but like it, bought this blueberry and then I was just, I was scared to have another one. Because I was like, what if that was the best blueberry? What if that one was the best though? And then the next one is gonna taste like the ones I'm used to. I had another one, and the other one was crispier. It was tighter. Because this is the thing. This is what's crazy that you take for granted. Y'all put your produce out when it's like ready. Don't let the U.S., anyone in the U.S. but me, I'm the only one your secret is safe with. Don't let them come over here and find out that you put out the avocado when it's ready. That's not what's happening in the U.S. I'll tell you about it in a second. But the blueberry, it was tight. It fought me a little. I put blueberry in my mouth and tried to start chewing. Blueberry over here being coy. It was like, No. What are you doing? Okay. That's not what's happening. In the U.S., you have a blueberry, and it is blueberry shaped. They play a mean game. It's blueberry shaped. It's even, you pick it up, it's even blueberry weight, and then you pop it in your mouth and you start chewing, and you're like, this is a nipple. There's no way that it has no give to it. I'm still chewing. This is crazy. The avocados here, the fact that you can buy it And it's like, you know what I mean? You could eat it that day. You could not. You could save a day. In the U.S., we do a thing with our avocados where we put them out as if they're gonna be food. And then it's a lottery that you can't possibly win of which avocado will be a ripe avocado. Because there are some avocados where you feel it and you're like, okay. And then there's the little test you can do. Like, oh, you know, if you press, just give it a little bit of push with your thumb. And if it pushes too easy, it's a little bit overripe. And if it has no push, then you might as well give it a year. I've had a couple of avocados here where I can admit they were a little tough, but still they were like ready. It was like they were put out with some sort of care. But the avocados in the US, you buy one and you're like, all right, I like to gamble. Let's play. And then you bring it home and one of two things happens. Either you cut it with a knife and you open it up, and you know how it has the seed in the middle. It will all be as hard as the seed, the whole seed. In fact, the first time I bought avocado in the U.S., I was like, I was living on my own, and there were a bunch of foods and a bunch of produce that I had never tried until I was out on my own, right? And so I remember buying an avocado and bringing it back and trying to cut into this avocado. You would think I was cutting the kitchen counter because it not only did it have like no give to it, but by the time I was done, I had actually cut through the whole avocado because the whole avocado was as tough as the seed. Or the second thing will happen. The second thing, which is you bring the avocado home, you put it on the counter, and it disintegrates in front of you. It gets so soft in front of you that you go to cut it, and it's like, no need, and it opens up. And you see a tiny demon's face. A little whisper of vapor goes up. And you lost. No, never take for granted the food that you have. This is real food. Like I couldn't understand. I can understand being vegan in the U.S. because you probably should. Like I can understand being vegan in the U.S. because like being vegan in the U.S. is like a self-preservation because they're telling you. Sometimes they'll tell you, oh, we've actually loosened a bunch of regulations around what we can feed the animal. So, for instance, in the U.S., there are some pigs that are straight up fed sawdust. To stretch the food that they are fed. So it's like sawdust, they cut it with whatever they're feeding them. So then when you eat it, you're like, oh, there's no wonder it tastes like splinters, you know? And here, y'all are like, oh, no, we should eat quality meat. And that quality meat, I have not been to a farm in Australia, but I've passed a couple, and it looks like a good life. I feel like it'd be very hard to be vegan here because you're eating good meat. This is very good meat, but all this meat has a story. Every burger could have its own like Babe trilogy. You know what I mean? That's what happens when you eat good meat and it's treated well. It tastes good because it was good. That was a good dude that you. Oh, he was courageous. He was good to his friends and everything. That's why meat's so supple, you know. In America, you're like, no, I could tell this meat also. It not only did it have a hard life, but it probably wasn't a good person either. Like this is, you could tell this chicken was racist or whatever. You know what I mean? Like something. Even the animals has been an adjustment. I'm sure so many people come and visit and talk to you about like, oh, your animals. It's all terrifying. How do you do it? How do you get by with the fact that like everything can kill you? Y'all just don't care, you know. And it is weird what is after you here. You know? Like I s- I saw a spider here. Don't do that. Don't do that. I saw a spider here, and it's crazy. This is backwards, by the way. Every science book in the U.S. or fairy tale I've read goes the opposite of how it goes here. Because y'all's biggest spider that has, like, personality. Your biggest spider that's over here just floating in front of you and legs open. I don't know if this actually happened or if it happened out of fear in my head that I was filling in the blanks and stuff like that, but I could swear I heard it. It was in front of me. Like, yeah, I mean, like it had a chuckle like an uncle. You know? That one you don't need to worry about. Y'all will walk up to that one, let it crawl in your hand, open the door, and toss it out. That's crazy. I need to understand how opposite of every law of human fear that goes against. Meanwhile, the smallest, the tiniest, not even worth mentioning. Little, you could barely see it. That's the one that bites you and you explode. You. I've watched it happen. I was watching this nature documentary, and this dude. It's funny because maybe it wasn't a nature. Actually, okay. To be fair, that was, I don't know. It was probably, I don't know if racist is the right word, but it was probably bigoted of me to be watching this Australian guy talking and see spiders and assume it was a nature documentary. He may have just been living his life, but like. There was a huge spider. It was in his face too, and the cameraman was following him, and it caught right up to him because he turned and it was right there, right, and it was over, right, and then he went, and then moved out of the way. They kept walking. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know he was the bravest man that ever lived. And then this is like maybe like 10 minutes later in the doc, he's talking. I don't even remember what he was talking about, but he's talking. And then he goes, ah! They zoom in, he moves out of the way. The tiniest, barely worth mentioning, smallest spider is smeared on the wall, and then the camera goes back to him, and he's like, I was like, this doesn't make any sense at all. This is completely unfair. Oh, this is sad. Even from what I've seen, like this kangaroo situation. Why didn't you warn anybody? Why didn't you tell anybody? Every single kangaroo has been to jail. Every single one of them. Why are y'all acting? Y'all exported the idea of kangaroos like they were just this fun little animal that loved to hop back on its tail and box a little. That's because that was bad on your part. You should take some responsibility for that. I'm not gonna lie. That can't be our fault that we all thought that they all smiled. Like that's every picture of a kangaroo ever. The mom smiling, the little one popping out of the pouch like. Meanwhile, you come to Australia and the kangaroos are over here. Every kangaroo looks at you like you just said something you shouldn't have said about its mother. That's insane. You didn't tell anybody that they had claws. This is... Because y'all love to play these pranks on people who come visit. You love to talk about like drop bears and all this stuff like that. Y'all, forget the drop bear. You already did it with the kangaroo. Americans are gonna come over here like, oh, there's one. Give me a high five, throat out. Nobody told us how strong these things were. The first time I even saw a kangaroo that was like real, that was like you know what I mean? Like the kangaroo, the way that y'all would see a kangaroo and keep driving. That one of those kangaroos, the first time I ever saw one was the one thing that you let slip. The one video you let slip to the rest of the world. The one. Where that guy, his dog was with the kangaroo. You didn't tell us that kangaroos love drowning dogs. That sounds like an attribute you'd want to get out there. Imagine if America just sent out an animal into the world, like an American like cow, right? An American cow, this is a prime American cow right here. And we just let people come see it. And just never told them details that would be very important to know if you were gonna meet a cow. Imagine if we were like, oh yeah, cow, yeah. You can go pet them if you want. Oh, by the way, they do stand up, so. Just be mindful of that, you know, when you walk up to them and everything. No, this kangaroo's over here. Kangaroos love to drown dogs. As a friend, let me help you with something. I understand that you are used to these wild and dangerous animals, but some aspects of what they like to do are deeply troubling. And so for you to not communicate first that the kangaroo, which we only know through y'all, loves to drown dogs. Do better, all right? Imagine if I had a friend who I was introducing you to, right? This is Stefan. Stefan's my buddy. I think you two will get on great. And then, years later, I'm like, oh, by the way, Stefan loved to drown dogs. I think it would change how you feel about Stefan. But anyway, this kangaroo got the dog. And it's like, oof, what a great day. I'm about to do what I do best. And then this guy walks up, and I didn't know, okay, because of how the video played out, I don't actually know or understand how big this man is. Because he walks up to the kangaroo, and the kangaroo is like, that's odd. Usually people see me do this and they run away. And he walks up, must be his dog, or maybe he just doesn't want to see murder that day. And admittedly, the first video that I saw was on silent, so I don't know if he yelled anything or not, but he definitely had the posture and the shoulders of somebody who might have been yelling, which I didn't know that kangaroos understood English, but yelling. And then kangaroo sort of bows up a little bit. And then you saw it. He punched that kangaroo in the face. Punched the kangaroo in the face, and the kangaroo went. This has never happened to me before. And I'm just saying, like, as a species that boxes, he should have covered. You know what I mean? Like, he should have seen it coming. From memory, it was just a straight left. He should have been able to dodge that. Oh, got all these animals. I got one. This is the other issue that y'all have. I don't know if you can do anything about this, but this is just me noticing, okay? Slight critique. A lot of the animals that you have here that are adorable and love to murder for fun are covered in fur that makes them that much more adorable. So you'll see like a wombat and you'll think, friend? Hey, buddy. Hey, how are you? And then also, no one told you. You look at a koala. Once again, y'all just like let stuff slide. That should be the first thing you hear about this animal. You see a koala and you're like, wow, this is the white people panda. This is truly incredible. Look at this adorable animal. Look at it sleeping. Loves bamboo, I think. I don't know. Went to a outdoor, I don't know what you would even call it, because it wasn't like a national park or anything, but we went to this place that had koalas just chilling in the trees, and you could walk by and take a little picture of the koala and keep walking and everything. And I saw this koala turned and looked at me. And I was like, oh. It was like melting my heart, genuinely. I was like, oh. It was like meeting a dry penguin. It was like, oh, it's happening right now. Oh, I've seen it in books and now it's here. And then as soon as it turned to me, it was like, ah. Why? It's the people of Australia. With all of your tourism efforts and with all of the digital footprint of koalas, did you not warn anyone that animal is a person living under a spell cast by a witch? It's the only way to describe what I heard. But it's just normal. I'll tell you one thing. I used to live in Chicago, and I'll tell you about this night that I had. It's not the whole night. It's more just as in one instance where I used to do these open mics all over Chicago. I would go anywhere that there was an open mic. And I would do these like what they would call like mixed open mics as well, where it was like music, comedy, magic. You could do anything. And then I would go to the comedy open mics. And then every once in a while, if it was a storytelling open mic or maybe poetry, I'd ask, like, I would tell them, I would warn them that I was going to do comedy. I wouldn't just act like the whole thing was a poem. And then they would let me up, usually. Every once in a while, it'd be places like, no, we only do this thing, whatever. It's fine. But I remember going to this part of Chicago I had never been to before. And I was still new to the city, so I didn't know my way around or anything. And so I do the open mic. An open mic could last anywhere from an hour to like 4, depending on how many people wanted to go up and how many people were willing to stay and watch the people that were going up. And so I was over here in a part of Chicago I had never been in before, trying to find the train again. Because I used my phone on Google Maps to find where the open mic was. But because I walked so long and then took a bus and then walked some more, I had no idea where the train was going to be to get me home. And it was already 1 a.m. And so I was beside myself because I was like, okay, I got to get up at 5. What have I done to myself? And so I'm looking for the train. I'm walking around and put it into Google Maps, and I'm confused because it's like, it says like this stop has maintenance. So I'm like, okay, I guess I gotta go to the next one. And I'm walking. And as I'm walking, I see this guy that is across the street from me in this abandoned lot. And he's standing in front of a dog and he's going, "What do you want?" What do you want though? Like what is it? And I've just never seen someone yelling at a dog from a place of divorce. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it wasn't like, what do you want? Like when a baby's crying or something, you're at your wits' end. It was like, I'm done. What do you want? What will make you happy? And anyway, he's like, what do you want? What do you want? And then the dog, this has happened so fast, the dog just zooms towards him and bites his crotch, right? I guess that's what it wanted. And every man in here knows, every man that hopefully will never be in this situation knows, though, that there's no way to effectively defend once bitten. That's it. But it bit him, and so now he's like, ah. He grabs the dog's collar, and they're both just like wiggling around, right? It's a lot of this. And he's screaming, and maybe you're wondering if or when I helped, and I didn't. I didn't help because, look, the dog, hopefully that dog only got beef with him. But one thing we know about this dog is it bites crotches. Right now, I'm a street away. The only way I could be safer is if I was at home. Like, why would I get involved? But it was crazy to watch because he's like, oh, we're right? And then right as this dude turns like this, right? There's a car that drives up, jumps the curve a bit, and hits him from behind. Okay? It doesn't hit him that hard. It was already slowing down, but it hits him to where his legs go up. And the dog lets go, the dog runs off, and then a guy gets out of the car and looks exactly like the guy that got bit. Like, he gets out of the car, and I'm like, it's him. It's him not bit. It felt like a moment from a movie about time travel. Where maybe this is what went wrong in that man's life. Maybe he got bit and then he was never able to make it work with the love of his life. Because she was like, I love you, but you bit. Like, we gotta be friends. So then he went back in time, got a car that decent. It was like, I don't know, looked like Kia Sorrento or something like that. But then drives up and it's like, oh wait, I focused so much on the time travel that I didn't plan for this moment, what I would do, and I'm late too, because I was supposed to catch myself before I got bit, but now I'm being bit. Maybe the only thing to do, maybe the only thing that'll break that dog's grip is if I hit myself with that car. And so he hit himself from behind with the car, and then the dog let go, mission accomplished, I guess. Clearly what actually happened is that guy had a twin. That has to be it. But even then, even a twin, why would they hit you with the car? Maybe they're not close, I don't know. The entire reason I told you this, the whole reason I told you everything I told you is because in that moment, being across the street, seeing this thing happen, which took like 0.5 seconds. Like, I swear I saw him, what do you want? Boom, right? Like, it all happened together. Maybe his brother was already coming to pick him up, and the dog, maybe he didn't know the dog. Maybe the dog... Maybe his brother was always gonna hit him with the car. I have no idea. The whole reason I'm telling you this is that being a spectator on the other side of the street from that thing must be what it's like to be an Australian watching America. Because just like me, it's not like y'all are coming over to help or anything. And also, just like me, you're like more confused than you clearly are concerned. For you, it's like a show. You're going home. This is entertaining. I'm the guy in the middle. What do you want? Boom. That's your show. That's my life. That's what life is like. I don't know if you've been keeping up. Why would you? Why would you if you didn't have to? If you didn't have to. I know that you keep up because y'all know about the world and stuff. Y'all have like genuine interest in other countries and people and everything, but I just, wow. If we knew you were watching. Now, because I came here, I watched some of your news thinking, all right, look, nobody's perfect. Let's get some dirt on Australia. I watched plenty, and wow, this is. What are you doing over here? You know what I mean? Like some of the things that make it into the news, I'm like, this is an email. This is. Like every country has its problems, don't get me wrong. Like every country has its problems, its tragedies and everything. I'm not saying nothing happens or that there aren't issues. I'm just saying that most of what is put out there to stay in the know you gotta understand, it's almost like speaking a different language, because I will read the news here and it'll be like, Kath doesn't like shopping. She hates going to the grocery. So she's already planned all her 2026 meals. Meanwhile, in the U.S., our local news, not a national story, local news will be man set on fire by man on fire. With hug. this is crazy. Yeah. No, this is very bad. In case you're not aware, our president, he is definitely now, as one could infer without any doubt, with complete certainty, in at least every other page of the Epstein files. Like it's so bad. This is very bad. I know it's hard for you to relate because over here, if someone was like in something that doesn't even rise to the level of the Epstein files, right? Like y'all kick people out for like missing a comma in a memo. Like it's, y'all like, this is unbecoming. Meanwhile, in the U.S., okay, so the Epstein files, in case you're not aware, there was a dude named Jeffrey Epstein who was... No, some people don't know. Some people... No, for real, especially here. Some people don't know. Some people, like, I know that as a country, y'all keep up with the goings-on of other countries and everything, but I'm telling some individual people here will not know. Kath doesn't know. There's no way that Kath knows about the Epstein files. I refuse to believe that we live in a world where Kath is up on all current events in the U.S., but just hates grocery shopping so much. She need all her time to plan all of her meals for 2026, a year that just started, a year that's barely unfolded. Okay, in case you're not aware, Jeffrey Epstein is a horrible person, criminal, the devil, basically the devil, and was leading, or at least the biggest part of this trafficking ring, this cabal of deviants that moved with sort of impunity. He had an island, a lot of bad, horrific things went down there, and he was also, without doubt, Jeffrey Epstein was also, without a doubt, one could not just infer, but pretty much say with real conviction that he was Donald Trump's best friend, like his best friend ever, like BFF, FFFFFFFFF, all the F's, BFF, forever and ever. Is very bad. It's bad, and so they have been fighting. And when I say they, I mean like the House Oversight Committee, I mean Democrats, I mean generally people in the public of the U.S. have been fighting to get the Epstein files released. In fact, ironically enough, Donald Trump ran on being someone who would release the Epstein files. Now, he did not say those things specifically. The people around him were talking about how he was going to be the most transparent president of all time, and he would release things like the Epstein files because there was a big push to get people energized around something that could be controlled, like a sort of narrative, and then that could get people out and voting, and then maybe they would just do away with it whenever the time called for it. But what they didn't account for is that people actually care if there are billionaires running around all over the world doing like a trafficking ring. And so, I know, who knew? And so even though part of his platform was being the type of person that would release everything, as soon as he's in office and they're actually talking about releasing it, everybody's like, uh-oh, that's basically his diary. Like, we can't just... And so Trump fights it for months. I mean, the House is like kind of closed over it for a while. They're actually reps that they won't swear in because they don't want to have the votes. I'm saying this, the Republicans don't want the actual votes to be had for the release of the files. Finally, that happens, though. Finally, they vote on a Transparency Act that would release the Epstein files, and it gets passed off from the House to the Senate, and then the president has to sign. So it gets passed to the Senate. The Senate actually, crazy enough, signed it so fast, I don't even know if it touched the desk. Like it just sort of floated in the room like a cartoon piece of paper, and then it landed on Trump's desk, and Trump gotta sign it. He has to sign it, because if he doesn't sign it, it sort of stops with him, and it makes him look super guilty. And he already looks very guilty. He already looks really guilty because, okay, I'll back up for a second. Remember what I said about like you eating McDonald's in the US and it not being food. It's like not food. You know what I mean? And then you eat it and then you're like, ooh, I feel terrible. I feel like somebody fought me in me. Like it's crazy. And then you have to go to the bathroom, and then your whole body is like, we're never doing this again. But then you do, because it's addictive. And I know that like McDonald's here is not the same as McDonald's in the US. I know that because admittedly I've had some, and it doesn't do that to you. Like you actually, I bit the food like it was gonna do it. I was like, but then I heard, and I know it's a rumor. I know it's a rumor. There's nothing that confirms it. But I got nervous because I ate McDonald's here. And I heard about Scott Morrison, right? And I was like, oh no, maybe it's not different. Maybe, because that's exactly what happens in the US. But anyway, Trump was over here trying to stop the Epstein files from, coming out through word of mouth, through hitting up people in private conversations and everything. And then it finally lands on his desk. He's got to sign it, because he's done a very bad job of looking like he has nothing to do with it, mainly because he's basically been screaming over and over, I don't have anything to do with it. Like, that's not... It makes you seem very guilty. So he signs it. So then the Department of Justice, which if you visit the US and you are talking about the Department of Justice, you are allowed to go, Department of Justice? Like you can, because we aren't even sure. So then the Department of Justice had 30 days to release the Epstein files, which is crazy. Like, this is crazy. This thing that we thought would never see the light of day is supposed to come out by the law that the president signed in 30 days. And so then they waited until the last day. And they said they released it early, but by 10 minutes of the deadline at midnight. But they release it, and the head of the Department of Justice comes out and it's like, there's actually so many files that we can't even release them all today, which is against the law, because the law was for all of them. But we can't even release them today. We're going to release some today and some tomorrow and then some in the spring. They really tried to release the Epstein files like a season of Stranger Things. It was insane. And then, never mind the fact that as they're trying to redact all this stuff, which is what was happening, the holdup was that they were trying to redact anything with Trump's name in it, or maybe people in the party that would look bad for them. They're still in office and everything, so they're doing all this redacting. So when they finally release the files, a lot of it is redacted to the degree which is just ridiculous. It'll be like a picture on a page and the whole page is black, but the whole thing was transparency. You have to tell us what's in there, and you have what's in there. But then they did a bad job of redacting. They did such a bad job redacting that some of the stuff with Trump's name on it got through. And then they tried to redact it the next day, but that's not how redacting works. We know now. You showed us. In fact, they did such a bad job redacting, because this is what happened as well. There were so many files that they actually begged people to work overtime for like a month and a half leading up to what was supposed to be the release, so that way they could redact enough and make sure they were all squared away, so when they released it, they released everything. But that didn't happen because there weren't enough hours in each day leading up to the release. I need to be clear about something. There were not enough hours for the entire team of people that they had redacting. Do you know how bad things must be if there are not enough hours in a month for a team of people to blacken out enough things to exonerate the president? Anyway, they finally released it, and they did such a bad job of redacting that some of the files were redacted in like Word. And so they basically copy and paste to a Word document, highlighted it in black, and then put it back for the... So if you were to copy and paste some of the Epstein files into Word and unhighlight it, you could read what the Department of Justice was trying to redact. Which is so wholly embarrassing as a country. And it's all because Trump has done such a bad job of trying to cover up that he's not in the Epstein files. Scott Morrison did a better job. Imagine if Scott Morrison was over here. I was never at McDonald's. You'd be like, oh, it definitely happened then. That's... Why is he screaming? Yes, it happened. It's so embarrassing because it's to redact stuff we know. That was his best friend. It would be like trying to redact any relationship between peanut butter and jelly. I know y'all... I know y'all don't roll with peanut butter and jelly like that. I know that. I know y'all like, that's not food. But like, it... But to us it is. I mean, you know what I'm scared of? I'm actually terrified for you if y'all started eating peanut butter and jelly, because it would be real peanuts. It'd be jelly from like a fruit. And I don't know if any one man is ready for all that power. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But this is bad. It's about as bad as getting bit in the crotch and then hit by a car. And a whole country of people just watching. Because I will say that there are people, I know there's like murmurings and there's attempts and there's the schools of thought here that would like to bring more of what America does. I'm just telling you what I've heard and what I've seen, and I'm just saying, as someone who lives there, don't. I am begging you, don't do it, all right? Because look, I understand. Every country is gonna have its problems, and every place is gonna have things that feel like they can be solved by taking a piece of what another place is doing. But in those moments, you really gotta look at the bigger picture. What is life like for people here? What is life like for people in the US, you know? Once again, you take it for granted. You eat food. You eat food. And there's a general belief system that seems to, from the people that I've talked to of differing opinions, both Aussies in the US and Australian citizens here, there is this general attitude, general mindset of the things that a government, a country owes its people. And those things are, I think they're a big part of why this is a great place to live. And I think that tossing them to the side for a little bit more of what America has, which is, I will say, a game. America has a game. You can play this game, and you can walk away with nothing, or you can walk away with millions. Spoiler alert, you won't walk away with millions. But the belief that you might walk away with millions allows you to give up things consistently. Give up your privacy, give up your data, give up your rights, give up the things that are owed to you by your country, by your government, as a taxpayer and as a citizen. And that's something I would never want to see happen here. There are beautiful things in the U.S. I'm not just trashing the U.S. all over the world. I'm just being very honest about it. But I just see people who have a genuine belief in what seems like an understanding of what it takes to take care of their neighbor. And when you take care of your neighbor, then eventually you are taking care of your country. You know, I understand there are things that I can't understand about living here. I'm not acting like I know the ins and outs of liberal versus labor or anything. I just know that when it comes to a quality of life, value for money, and being valued by your country as a citizen, there are a lot of things that you are doing right. I understand that you strive for more, and you should. You should keep fighting for the best possible world to live in, the best country to live in, nonstop, all the time. It doesn't mean that you can just pat yourself on the back and quit. It just means that what you're doing is working, whether you know it or not. Traveling opens your eyes to how people are living in different parts of the world. And I'm telling you, as someone who has started traveling and doesn't want to stop, I'm seeing all the ins and outs of places, and yes, what they may be lacking, but what they're really doing right. And I'm telling you, when I meet people, when I talk to people, for all of its problems, and for all the things that I hope get better about living here, with living here, you're doing a lot right. A whole lot. And you can tell that you're doing a whole lot right because Kath is in the news. Melvin, y'all been amazing. Thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming out.
Hey friends, I was actually off the road last weekend, so we're still dropping an unreleased set, but stay tuned afterwards because I'm going to be answering some of your questions from the internet. And if you have other questions that I don't get to, you can drop them in the comments. And if you have any questions at all, just keep being cool to each other. See you in a bit.
I've also been obsessing over that lady on TikTok who was digging in her yard and found that rug. Like, in case you didn't see this, there's a woman that was on TikTok, right? And this will be important later, but she's white, all right? And basically, she was making TikToks for like her fans and her friends and stuff. And in one of her TikToks, she comes onto the TikTok and she's like, "Y'all, I think my house is haunted." Okay? And then she starts giving her reason, and she does a little tour of her office where all these things are moved that aren't supposed to be moved. She's like, "I'm the only one that comes in here, and this is here, and it's usually up here, and then this is moved over here." And then when I opened my laptop, the laptop was like cracked from the inside. Like and you could see it. It was like corrupt, like it looked like ink had been spilled. It was so shattered on the inside, right? And she was like, "I don't know. I think I have a ghost." And in my head, I'm watching this, and I'm just sort of pulling from life experience. I'm just kind of like, "You ain't ever been robbed before?" Like, And so then, another TikTok she makes after that is she's digging in her yard. I think they're moving a fence or something. And then they hit something. And then they look at what they hit. And it's like this rug that's been buried underground, right? And it's a thick rug too. And then she's like, making a TikTok being like, isn't this weird? And I was like, that's a body. That's clearly a body, okay? And then this is the thing. When it comes to every person has different speeds that they operate at, right? You catch them on one day, they might react to you a certain way, another day a certain way. But some people do have like defaults, right? So one thing that's happened in the last like 4 years especially is that anytime a white woman's talking, we jump to Karen pretty quick, right? Like, there's Karens out there, but then sometimes someone will just have a menu and be like, does this one have gluten? And we're like, Karen! Like, that's... It's appropriate when it's appropriate, and it's not appropriate when it's not appropriate, right? But for everything, there is its opposite, okay? And I think that for us, we do need to start talking about the complete opposite, because we all know this person. We all know the white woman who doesn't want to make a big deal out of anything. We've all met this person. She could literally be on fire. And she's like, y'all, I'm just warm. Like, no. You are in danger, Bethany. Let us help you. You know what I mean? Like, she could call you. She could call you in the middle of a robbery. She's at the bodega. It's getting robbed right now. And she calling you being like, oh, no, I don't want to bother. Just if you get around to dialing those, like, 3 numbers, it would be really helpful. And this is who we have on our hands in this situation, because I'm not the only one, right? I see the thing and I'm like, that's a body. And then everyone else in the comments is like, girl, that's a body. And this is the thing about internet comments in general, right? At best, almost all the time, random comments on the internet are at least not helpful. They're at least not doing anything for you when you read them, or when you posted them, they're not actually good feedback. I mean, like, it happens a lot, especially because the internet's just out for everybody, Especially on a place like TikTok. People stumble onto your stuff and then they just comment on it, whatever they think. It might have nothing to do with what you're talking about, Like, as an example, years ago, I bought some nunchucks. And I was watching a tutorial on how to nunchuck. And the dude's tutorial was good. He wasn't hitting himself at all. He would do exactly what he was doing, right? But then I went down to the comments to see if it was as helpful to other people as it was to me. And none of the comments had anything to do with nunchuck. The top comment was like, support the troops. And it's like, sure, but how'd you get that from this? So for all of her comments to be like, girl, that's a body, I think you should listen. She made another TikTok where she was like, another really weird thing that happened was that my stepson was like going to bed and he went to plug in his phone. And when he woke up in the morning, instead of the phone being on 100%, it was on 3%. And you know how ghosts can suck up energy? I'm like, no, we're past this. It's a body. And once again, she was doing that white woman thing, trying to not make a big deal because, guys, I don't think it's a body. She says, I don't think that it's a body. I'm like, you think it's a ghost? It being a body helps your thing too. Every ghost used to have a body. Why are you acting like we're the dumb ones? And so then she makes another TikTok where she's like, okay, y'all, I called the police. it's funny because she describes like calling the police and stuff. And when she called the police and told them the situation, I was digging in my yard and I was trying to move this fence. I hit the rug, whatever, and the rug's very thick. We can't just, because that's the other thing. She can't just pull it up. It's so heavy that it's like, it's down there. She would have to dig more to even expose more rug to even try to pull it up. And she tells the police that, and the police are like, that's not like a body. And so the police come out, right? And I am not a cop. I don't know how police work actually works. I don't know what procedure is or anything. All I know is what I saw in the video, because she was also making a TikTok out of the police coming and checking out the hole. And the police, when they got there, I don't know what exactly they were doing, but they were doing that thing where, you know, like when they have their hands in their vest? So there was one cop that walked up and he was like, that might be a body. So police look it over, because cops came twice, right? Police look it over. Then part is fuzzy. I don't know what actually happened linking these two things. I don't know if the police said this to her before they left or if they called later and told her this, but basically they were like, look, it's a hole. I get that you're invested and that it's the rug, but we don't have the resources to just like do some big dig in your backyard for a case that's like not an open case or anything. There's not like some missing person or something. So we just, if you want to dig, if you want to dig and then call us if you find something, you can, but like, we're not gonna. And I mean, look, in this case, it was just the rug. It's not like a foot was hanging out or something, you know what I mean? And so then that was sort of that. And so she makes another TikTok where she talks to people and she's like, hey, listen, I know that y'all are all invested. I know that this is weird, but I don't have the money to just dig up my whole backyard just to try to find out what this is. Because in the case that it's nothing, I dug up my whole backyard and then I have to pay to, because it was also like going in the direction of her fire pit too, which means she would have had to pull up all that stuff. So she was like, I don't know. I don't know where this sort of leaves us, right? And she makes another TikTok not too long after that. Because what has happened through social is that we're all talking. We're all talking, we're all, like, listening's a strong word, but we're all talking. All right? But you gain the interest, and you can intrigue people from all over the world, right? And so as people are getting more and more invested in this thing, she makes another TikTok a little while later, where basically someone was watching her last TikTok about how, yeah, she didn't have the money to just dig up her whole yard and everything. And so then they messaged her and they were like, hey, I own a construction company. I'll dig. I will not be left on a cliffhanger, all right? Digging is what I do. And so then, you know, the next TikTok is her basically being like, hey, this person with this construction company said that they would come over and dig and help me figure it out and everything. So go ahead and tune back in, 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to go live and we'll find out together. This is what's really jarring about that, right? Is that TV used to be TV. You used to get your entertainment from TV, and TV was a thing. You used to buy the TV and know that all the TV would happen on TV. But now, slowly, over time, we're TV. Whether we mean to be or not. There's plenty of people who have realized they were TV in real time and been like, I messed up. I did not want to be TV today. You know? TV used to, we're spoiled. You know, we're used to 24-hour news. We're used to 24-hour programming, even pay programming. When a channel runs out of TV ideas, they're like, well, we'll let this person try to sell you something for 3 hours. You know what I mean? TV used to just have a few channels, too. TV used to have like 5 channels. And they didn't even have a lot of ideas. The TV would be like, guys, we're done. TV. You would have your TV on, but TV would be off. Because they were just, they just didn't have any more programs. They were like, you know what it is. We'll see you at 3 o'clock tomorrow. Go to bed. What are you doing up? Why are you still up right now? You have a problem. You need to see somebody, a doctor maybe. You probably have insomnia because you have left this TV on all night knowing that the Dick Cavett show only goes so late. And I didn't know about any of this. My grandpa was telling me, you know what I mean? But like, he was like, yeah, you used to, you know, that used to be how you knew you had a sleeping problem. And now, you know, she's opened herself up to the fact that like this incident has made her TV. She even said, tune in at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. I was like, you have commercials too? Damn. And then soon after that, she makes another TikTok where she's like, okay, all right. So I got a call, construction company calls, but I got another call from homicide. And a part of me was like, duh, it's a body. But she's like, I got a call from homicide that basically they said that they don't know who the last 2 officers were communicating with because it wasn't them. They must have talked to somebody else who told them to tell me what they told me. Homicide heard about the case and they were like, we would very much like to check. That's like our whole job, to check if that's a body. And so we're gonna come tomorrow and they basically tell her, they're like, hey, if we find something, this will turn your house upside down. Are you prepared for that? And she was like, yeah, I want to get to the bottom of this thing. It's been like on my mind and, you know, we're not just curious. It's like, this could potentially be terrifying, you know? And so they're like, okay. And if we don't find anything, then you're free to let the construction company dig and just see, like, get to the bottom of what maybe is dinosaur bones. Who knows, right? So next day comes, and she says in the TikTok, she's like, look, so still tune in at 4:30 Eastern Standard Time, but I don't know what you're going to be watching. So sure enough, homicide comes. They bring the detectives. They also bring the cadaver dogs, right? And both cadaver dogs signal at the spot in the rug, right? And they even did it in different ways because I don't really know. I don't know much about cadaver dogs. All I know is that the first dog, he seemed a bit junior. Do you know what I mean? That first dog was just a little too happy-go-lucky. You know what I mean? Like he really showed up and was like, oh, what a beautiful day. It's wonderful to just be in a yard and be able to run around, stretch your legs, and hang out with your friends and stuff. Oh! Y'all, this is just my opinion. I think that's a body. Second dog comes out, must have been more senior dog. They must bring 2 just to make triple sure, you know what I mean? Because second dog comes out much calmer, at least to me. Just, had more of a dignified gait to his walk. Walking around. Yep, that's a body. Ooh, y'all, come get me. That's a body. And it's got to be tough. It's got to be tough to be like a police dog because you don't know you have a job. Think about a police dog, just a dog. They think they're chilling. They think their life is normal. They only have like wild reactions once in a while, you know? Like I wonder what it would be like to take a police dog to like just the dog park. Have him converse with other dogs and stuff. Running around. That house dog is like, hey, how you doing? Looking good, you know. I love a pup in uniform. Oh, this? Oh, yeah. I wear it all the time. That was, you know, you come to this park often. Oh, yeah, every day. Every day, me and my pal come here, and then, you know, we lets me run around, and then we walk home, and then he feeds me treats, and I take a nap, and the police dog's like, nap? What's that? Oh, you know when you just get tired and you fall asleep whenever you want. And it's like, okay, must be nice. You know, and you said your owner gives you treats. What kind of treats? House dog's like, oh, all the treats. It's incredible. I get like the beef treats and the chicken treats. I go crazy for the tuna treats. I try to play it cool, but I can't. They're too good. You know, sometimes I'll play hard to get, but then I'm a sucker for the tuna treats. Do you get treats? And police dog's like, yeah, I get treats all the time. What kind of treats do you get? Police dog's like, mostly cocaine. You know, because I'm one of the dogs that they have sniffed for the cocaine, and so I'm running all in the house checking for the cocaine. I usually get there first, and so you know, sometimes I take a little off the top, you know what I mean? A couple extra sniffs. You know, it's gotta be wild. It's gotta be wild to think as a police dog, you're just going for a walk. They're like, smell this. Oh, okay. See what else smells like this out here. You're like, oh, all right. You just on nice stride, you know, running with your pal, and then out of nowhere you're like, something over here smells like, oh my gosh, that's a body. So both the cadaver dogs signal, right? And when they signal, you know, she's like, oh my gosh, like, you know, she's really taking it back. And I think that's also the first time that this becomes like real, because I think, you know, I can't say what was going on in her head, but I can imagine that like at the time you're just kind of going through the motions and having your own little true crime thing. But then when there's really something there and it becomes real, like, oh, this is terrible. This is terrifying. And then the police even come over and they're like, hey, you might want to stop recording. And so she makes another TikTok hours later where she's like, hey, I'm sorry I left y'all on cliffhanger. You know, police were like, hey, maybe you want to stop recording. So I stopped recording and everything. But yeah, there's just people all over my house and stuff. And it was just like, I think it was all hitting her at once. And it must have been overwhelming, you know? And she's even saying to the camera, she's like, and the police, you know, they appreciate the fact that I'm the one that called them and stuff like that. So it's not like they're looking at me or anything. I was like, nope. Call a lawyer. 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 Call a lawyer now. Put the phone down and call a lawyer. Don't talk to me. Call a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. Stop talking to me. Call a lawyer. That's a lot to assume. That's a lot to assume. Hey, guys, I just found this body. Like, I have nothing to do with it. You know? And it's got to be tough. Like, I really did try to put myself in her shoes. You know, it's got to be horrific to find something like that, what it might be, all that stuff. I think about what what any of us might do. You know what I mean? Maybe not make a TikTok about it, but like what any of us might do. Like I think about what I would do. I'm a homeowner. I'm moving my fence, you know, and then hit this rug. A rug, by the way, that had a tree planted on top of it. I think about what I would do, right? As Josh, and even more importantly, maybe as like a black dude in America. I'm not gonna lie, I think I'd be like, yeah. I didn't kill him. No. So then they like properly excavate and they do a whole dig and it turns out it's not a body. Isn't it weird to be disappointed? Isn't it kind of weird to be disappointed that somebody is not dead? It's not a body at all. It was a rug that had a tree planted over it that was buried, which I'm not gonna lie is way weirder. That's so much more jarring now. There's so many more questions I have now. We understand, it's not right, but we understand how people get got. Like we kind of, like there's a part of you, maybe you're in the mob or something like that, but this thing is way weirder. That means that your house was previously owned by a freak. That just means that there was someone that owned your house that was burying rugs and planting trees on top. What else were they doing? Licking banisters? What goes through the mind of somebody who buried? What kind of witchcraft is that? I want answers. She gonna be retiling her roof years from now and there's gonna be a piece of bologna under every tile. What kind of cartoon house is this?
Stand-up and a daily show?
You know, I work at Daily Show Monday through Thursday, and then we go on the road Friday, Saturday, and sometimes Sunday. And so I know that it's a lot, but it's also everything I've been trying to do this entire time. Like these are all the things that I've ever wanted to be doing, and they just happen to be happening at once. Another thing that really gives me energy, I guess, is the people that I'm around. I get to be around the coolest people that I've ever worked with at Daily Show that are constantly like, whether it's hyping you up or you're able to bounce ideas off of them, and their enthusiasm and the way that they bring like their specific talents to the show always make me excited to be a part of it. And then the rest is just doing stand up on the road, which is just meeting all of you and, you know, doing the meet and greets when we can and stuff. And those are real opportunities to get a second to chat, even if it is just a moment where, you know, I understand, especially a late show, people are tired and they want to take the picture and go home and stuff. I'm never like thinking about it some type of way. I guess I'm more just so excited to meet the people who enjoy what I'm doing, you know, because sometimes you are creating these things online and it's very easy to see a number of likes or a little ticker go up. And while those things carry their own sort of excitement of like, oh, that's cool that people are watching, it's not until you meet the people that are watching that you get a real sense of what's going on. And so I don't know, if I'm being honest, if I've thought about balance yet or anything. You know, I sneak in my naps when I can, and one day I will find time to sleep. But sometimes I will say I don't realize I'm asleep. I have definitely woken up and not been sure when I was sleeping. So I guess I get enough sleep.
How do you take care of your mental health?
I think I do lots of stuff. To me, I think you're constantly bombarded all the time with stimulus and with media. And I think that even though most of it is negative, the positive stuff there, whenever you open yourself up to it or whenever you focus on it, is just as overwhelming sometimes. You know, there are a lot of people out there talking about the good things happening in the world. And if you engage with that stuff as much as you engage with like mainstream news and being up to date on the latest horrible thing that's happening in every country, I think you can find the balance that's actually happening. Because it's true, all these things are happening at the same time. And I don't know. I think that centers me sometimes, that like as many bad things as there are that are happening, there's so many instances of us seeing like the good in people and the good in the world and stuff. And so that helps me take care of myself. I have people that I will sometimes message if I'm having a rough time, for any number of reasons, you know, just having those people really help. I think that therapy as well. Therapy, depending on your version of it and what you found helps you the most, I guess depends on how often you lean on it. And so, yeah, I think therapy, I think engaging in as much positive media as I can. And I think, looking up specifically for news stories where something good is happening help me take care of myself.
Why are your tickets $400?
They are not. They're not. I cannot say this enough how much they are not. And because of how social works as well, no matter how many times you post that they're not, it may not reach the people who saw the thing. You know what I mean? Like we're all just missing each other because they're not at all. One of the reasons that you might see $400 tickets to my show are resellers. So I am trying to make sure everybody can come to the show. I'm trying to make sure that all the tickets are affordable, right? But if someone buys up a bunch of tickets and then they go to the secondary market and they wait until the show is sold out and then they try to sell it to people who want to come to the show but missed it, they're going to charge whatever they think they can get, right? So while it's $400 in this economy, $400. I am not asking that of anybody. $400 is too much money. Okay. I can't sing. Yeah, I mean, like we're not talking about tickets to like somebody who can do backflips or something like that. Resellers are charging these astronomical prices, which is why I tell people to join my email list. If you join my email list, I will let you know when I add shows. I'll also let you know when shows are happening. You'll also get access to pre-sale in some of the markets because we try to email everyone out. There's a whole thing that I'm learning about how like venue have pre-sale tickets and days, and everybody has a certain amount of tickets that they're allowed and stuff like that. But as soon as we can go to you with the ticket, we try to go straight to you. So that way the email is coming from me and then you can get the ticket at its intended price, and we completely cut resellers out of it. Sometimes I even lose words for how best to describe how bad of a thing this reselling is, because it cheats you out of money and it cheats a lot of people out of an experience, you know? Because let's just, for the sake of argument, say the reseller buys my ticket and they're charging $2,000. And then people are like, Josh, love you, nice little quips, nice little witty jokes online, but 2,000, no. Now, somebody who was willing to pay the like $35, $45 that I was charging for the show doesn't get to come. And then this reseller is blocking people from having a good time at the show, you know? So my tickets are not $400. If you see that, you know, not only don't you buy it, but also feel free to warn other people, hey, this thing is not real, you know? So hopefully I've spoken about it well. Hopefully.
Where is your hour-long Netflix special?
It doesn't exist, but I think maybe it could one day. We'll see. The reason I do stand-up is to connect with the people that I'm doing stand-up for. And that's been happening through social, through YouTube, through like live performance as well. So I feel like the connection is there, and it's getting stronger, and it's growing. And so I don't concern myself as much with like, oh, when are we going to get this thing, or can we get this person on the phone or something? Because to me, all things happen as they're supposed to in the right time. And so if there is a day that comes that I have an hour-long Netflix special, then the day that that comes will be the day that it comes out. Until then, I'm having a great time posting and writing as much as I can, and just sort of putting that stuff out there.
Can you go deeper into your writing / performing process?
Yeah, so I guess I don't know. I could talk about it all day. So I'll try to give like some bullet points. I think when you're writing about anything, in my experience, I think taking the things that you find funny about them and the things that you find interesting about them and believing in them are going to be ways that you connect people to the thing it is that you're talking about. Not everything is interesting, and maybe everything can't be made interesting by a specific person. But I think if there's any like gold that you actually find in something, someone else will connect with that. I think the missing connective tissue sometimes is belief in the thing that you're talking about, and it's in a full understanding of what you're trying to say. And so whenever I'm writing anything, I'm trying to make sure that I'm fully distilling the idea down enough that if you don't know me, and if you don't know what I'm like, and if you've maybe even never watched stand-up before, you'll still get what I'm trying to say. And I think that is one of the main things I look for in what I'm talking about and how long I want to talk about it. And then I think that sort of all of life informs other pieces of it. So if I may be talking about one thing that has nothing to do with any of the other topics I bring up in my mind while well, let me see, now I'm rambling. Hold on. If you choose a topic to talk about, right, it may seem incredibly isolated. It may seem like one of its kind. But because of how long humans have been around, and because we have cyclical behavior, it's not. So no matter what the thing is, there's something like it that has happened before, even if it's only in spirit. And so I think that as soon as you pick something to talk about, you can find things that are similar to that thing, that maybe someone might not understand thing A that you're talking about, but they've experienced thing B. And if thing B is a universal enough experience and you link it back to A, then I think that you can in turn at least give people the option of seeing what you're trying to say. And that's just one way to do it. I think that the other way is like take the thing that is your topic that's most important to you and breaking it down on every level. At some point with those layers, people will start to see what you mean. Whether or not they agree is like completely up to them. And luckily for stand-up, you don't really need anyone to agree with you. You just need them to be enjoying what you're saying and find it funny. Some things that we find funny are because of agreement, and some things that we find funny is because of the absurdity of it and how much we disagree. And so I think that in those ways, you don't really need to have the way a lawyer does an iron tight argument. You more just need to have all of your points built out and know exactly what you're trying to convey. And then that will be the link between you and the people that you're sharing with. I think that, yeah. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you so much. I look forward to seeing you on the road when I come to your city. Make sure to join the email list. It's at joshjohnsoncomedy.com. And I look forward to making more videos for you in the future. You know, I really love what I'm doing right now, and you're part of why I love it so much. Yeah. Till next week. So when I swing my legs, are you getting that?
No.
Oh, you're not? Okay. That would be my undoing, because they are nowhere near. And it's like, it's hard to take a man seriously when they're swinging like this, because it's a natural thing. Like if they were on the ground, they would be planted enough that it wouldn't be a big deal. But because they're so free, because my knees are really off the edge, there is a dangle that's not only a bit dainty, it's a bit whimsical too. It's not the right vibe to try to be.
The shoes are also Velcro too, so that.
Yeah, okay. These actually aren't my normal shoes. I wore these because I lost my shoes. And so I'm still looking for my real shoes. But then until then, I have these on, and everyone has been looking at me like I need help. I have not encountered anybody in a store or on the street that has seen my shoes and not been, let's just say, extra nice to me. Dangling in Velcro shoes, it's not the look for a grown man. You know what I mean? Like, this is, when I tell you, I'm positive that this is like a walking ick. Yeah, like this is bad. So I was also not happy about it, because I literally asked my girlfriend, hey, do you know where my shoes are? Which is one of the most insane questions you can hit a person with, because your shoes should have been left by you somewhere nearby. But I did not know where my shoes were, and I haven't worn these in maybe a year. I don't even know where they came from. I really don't. Like, maybe I bought them, but I feel like they were a gift, and not just a gift, but like a re-gift. Like, I think they were given to someone my size, and then that person was like, nah, I can't keep these in the house. It's better than not having shoes. I'm grateful to have more than one pair of shoes, but I'm also praying I find my real shoes soon, because, ugh.
The main shoes, they're what, on?
On clouds, yeah.
When are you going to get an endorsement? I mean, you have those on every show, every stage, all over the country.
That's up to OnCloud. I wear them because they're comfortable. But an endorsement would be nice. That would definitely buy some more OnClouds. Yeah, they might as well endorse me. I would just give the money back to them almost immediately in OnClouds.